afternoon. This is Chris Brecher with a Simpler Stocks free video for May 9th, 2016. As you see here right now, it's about 56 minutes after the close. I'm in Austin right now to the home office, and we've had some computer issues, so it's taken me a while to get this going. Just to let you know, I was flying today, but I was monitoring the market all day, and this is what I thought was going to happen today, is basically we're getting this breaking point. And what I mean by that is you unlink this here, and you put over here the ESs on the left. And I know this is a broken record. I show this all the time, but you put the NQ on the right. The whole idea is when you get the NQ on the right, and let me put this to chart default. Like I said, I don't have all the settings because I'm in Austin. But you sit here and you watch the NASDAQ constantly under its 200 like this, and the transports under its 200, which I could show you look very similar to this chart, and you see the ES is above. Something's got to give. So usually what I see on this is you see the NASDAQ start to outperform to try to catch up with how high the ESs is. So what I mean by this is look at the ESs, how high they are over its 200 SMA. You have the NQ under its 200 SMA. Usually you get some form of outperformance in one and underperformance of the other. Now, all day today, it looked like the NASDAQ was going to have another leg down. Look what happened on the close. ES is up 10. At one time, these were down all of 2, and the NASDAQ was down, let's say, 20. Now, NASDAQ up 33. ES is up 10. Another one lagging was the Russell. That was up 10. What else was lagging? The transports. They're up 71 today. So a lot of what you saw today was just some of the late day activity on a Friday when it gets thin of people trying to snap things back in line. What do I mean by snapping back in line? Look at a 15-minute chart of both the ESs and the NASDAQ in here. And what do you notice in here? You notice this nice snapback. So here's the sell-off this morning because of the unemployment report. And let me just tell you, I was on the plane, I heard the unemployment report, and then I looked and I saw that the ESs were down, let's say 9 points. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. The weak unemployment report means they're really not. The Fed really isn't going to tighten. And sure enough, the market went straight up after that. Tried to test the low, and then went straight up after that. So that's one thing I wanted to show you in here. One thing interesting is when you get the trial or you're a subscriber, I want you to see a 78-minute chart of this. And I wish you would have had the video last night where I sat there and said, you know, if we break right here about 2043, we're going to go to 2030. That's the first stop. And guess what the low was? 2030 and a half. Now you might say, but that's measuring. It should be 18 points, get you under 2030. Always combine a chart pattern with the longer term perspective. Where is the support on a 195 chart? If you zoom out and put this on the right, a 195, and the daily, the ES is on the left. And like I said, there's Fibonacci support. There's Elliott wave support and resistance. There's all kinds of moving average support and resistance. But the number one thing is price. If there's a price support and resistance, to me, is always more important than all the other ones. Now, what do you see on the right here? Check out where these little candles were in April, right here at 2030. And where did we stop today? Right at support. So you have to understand, even if you have a measuring implication, you always have to respect these support levels. Now, the problem is, what do you do going forward? You still have a divergence between the NASDAQ, the transports, the Russell, and you have the ES is still up here. This is what I mentioned last night on the premium video. Take this in here and zoom in here, and I'm going to make this bigger so you could see it. And I want you to see this right here. We're going to zoom it out. And I want you to realize that the MACD here is starting to get oversold. The thing is, and what I mentioned on the video last night is I wouldn't be surprised to see a rally to try to form some kind of right shoulder over here in this area. So just so you know, you want to see, let me get this so I'm writing the tool correctly, a little right shoulder. See it consolidate for like a week, have this right here go back to overbought or at the minimum the zero level, so you have enough energy then for this head and shoulders to then break down. So this is what I thought is you get some kind of stoppage here and not the ultimate objective because you were still oversold, because you're already oversold. So that's one thing I wanted to make clear in here. Other thing I want to mention in here is what we get. I've showed you the overall market perspective. And in the premium video, we go over a number of things. Now, I want you to realize we go over unusual option activity, we go over unusual stocks, and I go over also what's working now. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, on your $7 trial and for the $79 for the month, you get all of this. You get the email alert, and let me do an arrow so you know what I'm talking about. You get the chat room where I'm on from 9 to 10 every morning Eastern. You get the premium videos like I just mentioned that are, let's say, about 15 to 20 minutes in length. You also get the email alerts. You get a forum that's very active where people banter back and forth market ideas. You get this meetup that I'm doing almost once a week where I've done one on the ATR trailing stop, on moving averages, on day trading. They're all free. They come with your subscription. They're not where everything gets piled on money-wise. So your $79 includes all this. Next week, I'm putting it all together, a live trading where I'm actually going to be on the close on 3 to 4 Eastern next Friday, because a lot of times there's takeover rumors on a Friday, and it's fun to look at unusual option activity and decide what we're going to do. Now, the reason I'm bringing all this up is the email alerts. And when I tell you on here, and this is probably one of the most powerful parts other than the live chat room, is this. Is you go in here and you have stock trades and chart ideas, index and futures charts. See the unusual option activity? There are a lot of newsletters charge like $400 a month, and they'll pound out like 50 different ideas. The problem is all they're doing is pumping out ideas. They're not combining them with chart, market feel, and the experience I've had for 34 years. I'm trying to handpick individual ones. Now, I want to show you this because I'm pretty excited. I'm sitting on a plane today from Jupiter, Florida, really Fort Lauderdale to Austin, and I'm looking at just charts because the internet doesn't work great on a plane, and I'm looking at some of the picks I picked even yesterday. Check this out, and I'm going to try to make this bigger so you can see this a little better. Check this out right here. Put buying in LOCO. Check out LOCO today. This is really neat. So I pointed out the unusual option activity in LOCO. The stock was only down 2 points today. But what's beauty about this is not only did I point it out, but look what I put in here on a chart. Now, I'm not always right. Don't get me wrong. But look what I said in here. I don't normally trade put options on cheap stocks, but note the bearish trend line that can be drawn. Now, when we were in the live chat, I said if it breaks this right here, it could go from 15 to 13, that little bear flag, and that gets you to 11. Guess where it closed? 11.05. That was a real good one. Another one we mentioned in here, we mentioned a number of them. Almost every single one worked. I mean, very unusual. Look at this one. YY put buying ahead of next week's earnings. And look what I said in here. I don't normally like put activity 5 points away from the stock price, but note the precarious chart patterns developing. So just keep this in your mind right here. This is yesterday during the day. Look when the time of this was, and you realize you had more than enough time to do an actionable trade. So let's go back in here so you, just so you know, it was during the day. Now let me show you something what YY did today. This is pretty exciting. Check that out. Stock only went down from 60 to 54. I mean, that would pay for your subscription. You buy a 10 lot, it probably pays for it for 10 years. So just amazing on how that worked. So the whole idea and why I bring this up is I like to go over what's working now. If I see bear flags, then I'm going to post a bunch of bear flags. If I see unusual call activity, I'll post a bunch of unusual call activity. You know, if I see bull flags, same thing. But right now what we're seeing is a lot of unusual put buying out of the money, and they seem to work. Let me just show you a couple more. Look right here at Teva. I have no idea why there's a lot of put activity, but watch what the stock did. Just so you know, I pointed this out back here at about 54, and it worked great. That was one. We had MetLife. I mean, I could just rattle a bunch of them. The whole key is if the market, like the SPX, seems to want to achieve a downside objective, then put activity is going to work better than other chart patterns. So I try to be adaptable enough to show you what I think is working now. So like you know, we have this trial right here. Become a premium member. Right there, it's $7 for 30 days. And like I said, try it out for 30 days. See some of the picks we have. Participate in the chat. I think you'll really love it. So everybody take care. Have a great weekend. I will talk to you on Monday.